What's going on, everybody? It's Brian Tripp. I am here in Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome to the REI Live podcast, Real Estate Investing Live. We interview the very best real estate investors and entrepreneurs all throughout the country, and today is no different. From Mobile, Alabama, we have Mr. Jared Irby. How's it going today, Jared?
Oh, doing great, Brian. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
I'm excited to do this show because we've been talking about this for actually a long time. We've been talking about this for about 6 months or so. And so I'm
taking a few minutes for our schedules to cross up for sure.
That's right. So I'm glad to do the show. You are doing some incredible things in Mobile, and I really just want to let's just start there. Tell everybody who you are and what you are doing in real estate today.
Sure. So my name's Jared Irby, and Irby Home Buyers is our company, and down in here, Mobile, Alabama, which is those of you who don't know, just right on the Gulf Coast, kind of due south of Birmingham, and we're right here in Hurricane Alley. So we focus on doing a lot of wholesale deals. We're probably buy and sell over 150 deals a year at the moment, and on track to even scale further. A lot of those are wholesales that we sell to other investors who are looking for flips or rentals. Also have a large rental portfolio of my own that we're adding to every month. And then on top of that, do some multifamily apartment investing and also some commercial property where we buy little office buildings and rent them out, that kind of thing.
So you got your toe dipped into a lot of different things there. That's a lot going on, but it probably wasn't always that way. Kind of take us through the progression of, kind of just starting out brand new to how you've gotten to today.
Sure, no doubt. It definitely didn't start like that. And frankly, it'd probably be wiser to focus on one thing instead of a bunch of others. But being in a smaller market, you kind of feel like you have to, kind of be a jack of all trades somewhat if you want to, kind of make money in all markets. But I started out, I had another business that was doing well and we were making money. And I decided I wanted to be able to invest that in something that I could understand. And I really looked at the stock market and really just didn't understand that. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, I get the concept, but why it works didn't really make a lot of sense. I didn't see how, as a small investor, I could win. So I started researching real estate and decided, hey, I want to flip houses and buy rentals. And so that's what I did. I used some of my income from my other, job and other business, and started buying a few flipped a few houses. Then kind of slowly built up a small little pool of rentals. I think I got up to maybe, 10 total rentals before I was actually full-time in real estate. And that took probably 8 years to do that. So just kind of slowly built it up. And then at some point I was like, screw it, let's do this and go full time. So.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have a similar story to a lot that get into it, kind of just, dip your toe into it a little bit, kind of get a feel for it, and then really kind of start to ramp it up. Like, when did you decide wholesaling was kind of the path? Kind of, because it sounds to me like wholesaling is your bread and butter maybe, and then everything else kind of works off of that.
Sure. So I feel like we keep the lights on with the wholesaling and really pay for our infrastructure and our marketing. And that really supports being able to acquire, rentals at great prices and really just kind of being able to fuel the machine with some capital. So yeah, I was flipping houses and started buying them at the courthouse steps and got great deals. But it really started kind of slowing down, say probably 3.5, 4 years ago, being able to find those good deals, really about 3 years. And we just weren't able to find like just great deals anymore. And those are the kind of foreclosures we would buy, just do a little cosmetic stuff to them, put back on the market. And then I was like, man, I got to figure out how to find deals a different way so we could, continue operating. So that's when I started really just listening to all the podcasts out there, kind of immersing myself into stuff like your content, where you're really teaching people how to wholesale and really, kind of get started without a lot of capital. even though I had some capital, I was like, man, we can buy a house and then never put any money into it and turn around and resell it and make a lot of money. Like, that sounds like a no brainer. So really just kind of decided, hey, the next deal we get, I'm just going to try to wholesale it. And I did. We made 11,000 bucks on it, and it's kind of hooked from there on out, that was a good exit strategy.
What year was that, Jared, that first wholesale deal?
That was probably 2.5 years ago, right?
Okay, wow. So up until that point, you had some capital from a previous business, it sounds like, and you were just flipping some houses.
Sure. And I had bought a few houses from some wholesalers. So I guess I understood what it was. I guess I didn't really understand that, hey, you could actually make quite a bit of money doing it without a lot of risk. And I didn't really understand that until I actually did one myself. And then it started clicking.
So, and I know, you just said you're doing 150 deals this year. Give us a breakdown. Like, what percentage of those are wholesale deals, just roughly speaking? Just curious.
I would say, so out of the 150, we've probably acquired about 20 rental houses this year. And we've probably flipped, like actual flips where we take title to it, probably, 15. So the bulk of it, 100 and over 115 or so is wholesale deals.
So that leads to the natural question for me, and probably for a lot of our listeners, is how do you go in 2.5 years from 0 to 10 a month consistently? What was kind of the first thing that you really did that helped you scale to that big number?
So I do have a sales and marketing background, and I think when you do a company like this, you have to treat it like a sales company and a marketing company, and it's not really real estate, to be honest. It's just it's just not the same business that you think of sticks and bricks. It's really finding motivated sellers, finding deals in creative ways from agents or wherever you can find them, and really kind of creatively being able to piece together deals, and then really making sure that you're in those low enough that you can just flip it really, really fast to another investor, and then they still have room to make money on it. So it's more of like black magic than it is like anything. It's not complicated by any means, but it's more sales than real estate. And so the way we were able to do it was taking that background and really focus on putting like systems and processes in place where we could kind of continually generate leads while we were sleeping, basically, and then really automate the sales process as well for when we actually do send it out to investors, so that we can kind of create a frenzy to get the deal as fast as possible, and we get them in front of the right people.
So give me just a nugget, like give me just like a little bit of that maybe secret sauce that allows you to, like, an actionable thing that you do that's a system or a process that's specific to this business to get it to be a little bit more automated.
Well, some people say build your buyer's list first. Some people say get your deal first. I'm kind of the opinion that you really don't have anything until you have a deal. So if it were me, I would really focus on, definitely being jacked into some RIA meetings and things like that. So you aren't, just kind of going into it blind, and you actually do know some people and have some outlets for a deal. But I would really focus on my marketing machine. I mean, there's so much content out there like yours and all the, lots of other podcasts and coaches and things like that can really teach you how to own one channel of marketing and really be successful at it. So I started off, and we did direct mail, we did social media advertising, pay-per-click advertising, referrals from agents. I mean, we have just a huge list of ways that we get deals now. But I would say the key is to focusing on one. And I think my first, 6 or 7 deals were off of Facebook, social media paid campaigns. So I just focused on one medium and just hammered it hard. And I would say that that's probably the biggest thing you could do, is really really automate, your marketing machine to consistently get lead flow, and then really, train yourself on how to sell. I had a slight advantage by having some prior sales experience, but I mean, if you're starting a business, you're a sales and marketing person. So I would really focus on, trying to build up that sales training, and there's lots of resources for that out there right now.
Yeah. So I think it's key what you're saying is to treat it like a marketing and a sales business. It's a marketing company that has to sell a product more than a real estate business. Tom Kroll, who we've had on the show, says it's not a real estate business at all. It's like a pawn shop. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Your pawn shop, and they know that they can go get full market value on the MLS, but that's not why people go to a pawn shop. They go to it for speed and convenience, and you're the pawn shop of the real estate world if you're a wholesaler. So I love that. I love that you said all that. Let's kind of take it to the next step. So you wholesale. It sounds to me like you wholesale to obviously keep the lights on, but to also buy rentals and to also like continue to build your rental portfolio.
Yeah, so the machine that we've built is we just go lock it up, right? Lock it up low enough. That's our kind of motto to our salespeople, right? So we go out and find deals, and it may not necessarily be one that I want to keep for my portfolio, or I think is a flip that fits within my parameters. So we want our salespeople to go out and just find a good deal. Then we evaluate that and say, hey, does this make sense to wholesale this property? Does it make sense to keep it as a rental? Does it make sense to flip it? And then we decide at that point. So we've kind of created this funnel, and we pick off the ones that fit our model, and then we sell the ones that don't. And because I've got a lot of investors in town that, they flip stuff that I wouldn't flip, and they're making a lot of money on it, but it doesn't really make sense to me. And it's kind of out of my wheelhouse. So, it makes sense to get the right product to the right person. And that's where you can really provide value to, everybody in the whole process. You're providing value to the client who needs to sell their house quickly. You're providing value to your team by letting them, make money off the ones that we're not going to keep in our rental portfolio. And then also, at the same time, you're providing a lot of value to the investors. We've got a couple of investors that put alerts on our spreadsheet so that they get an alert the second we add a property to it because they just want them all. So there's a lot of value that you're creating throughout the whole chain.
For sure. So let's switch gears just a little bit. I appreciate you talking about your wholesale business a little bit. I think that kind of helps people kind of at least get a sense of how they might be able to scale their existing business. I want to talk about Mobile for a second because we really haven't talked about that kind of market. First, give some people some perspective. How big, you said it's a smaller market. How big is Mobile, the greater area that you actually do business in?
So if I recall, I think it's about 600,000 people in the whole metro area. But that's actually quite a large large landmass. It's two counties, Mobile and Baldwin County. There's really substantial growth going on in Baldwin County. It's probably one of the hottest, or at least highest population growth areas in the South right now. And then Mobile County, I think, is where a lot of the industry is, and there's a lot of job growth, but there's not a lot of population growth. So we're kind of in this really diverse market that's spread out over a large area. And I think 600,000 people would probably put it at a little more than half the size of Birmingham, probably, and kind of behind Montgomery a little bit as well. So it's not a tiny micro market, but it's not, a big, massive one like Atlanta or, Houston or something like that. So
why, tell everybody listening, like if, maybe someone has some interest in the Mobile market. Like, why would someone want to buy real estate and hold real estate in Mobile? Like, give us a sense of what the numbers would look like down there if I were to buy and hold.
Well, the best reason I like it is it's only snowed twice in the last, 10 years. So that's pretty nice. We've got a great climate. There's a lot of job growth. We're right at the intersection of two major interstates. So we're really well positioned for a lot of industry and a lot of growth. There's a huge shipping port here. There's huge railways coming in and out. So it's kind of like an old town industrial city in my mind. And but it's got a lot of good things going for it. So to me, when you want to pick a market, you want to pick one that's growing for sure, which I think is important. And you want to pick one that has good fundamentals, like, you pick a real touristy market that can, things can kind of change really quickly, with tourism and things like that. So I look at, I want to look at like actual jobs, and because, if people are working, they need places to live. And that's what, really makes sense, when you're evaluating rental properties. Another factor is an extremely low cost of living, which is drawing employers and drawing more people to come, work here. An employer can, pay someone half as much as in California for an awesome climate, and they're actually benefiting, at the end of the day, because the housing is significantly less. So that's just some like kind of basic fundamental reasons I like it. But it's just been really good place to invest, also because the price compared to the rent, makes a lot of sense. You can actually cash flow.
Give us an example of that. Like if I were to buy like a B-class property and I'm buying it from a turnkey company, I'm not buying it off market. I'm buying it. I don't even know if there are turnkey companies out there, but if I'm buying it from someone probably paying close to retail, give me a sense of what I would have to pay for that property and what the rents might be.
Yeah, you could probably, for something turnkey, you could probably pay, mid 80s for that, and probably rent out for $1,000 a month or more. Obviously if you want to get your hands dirty, you can get even significantly better deals than that. We're starting to do some turnkey sales, and that's kind of what we see, a little bit more than one time's rent, which varies safely though. I've seen some turnkey providers in other places that are really kind of compressing that rent to price ratio, and that kind of concerns me. I think you want to definitely stay on the better side of cash flow. So I want to look, I think that you want to get like a nicer house, that B-class house that you're talking about. And yeah, I think you could easily be in at 85, 90 and well over $1,000 or more a month, in rent, that kind of range.
So I know that, you mentioned the climate, obviously it's going to be a lot warmer down there. Some people kind of get a little bit nervous about what just happened to Panama City. That's not that far away from you. Has anything ever come through Mobile like that, like a big hurricane like that? What about, being so close to the water? Are you in a flood zone everywhere? Just talk about that kind of stuff.
Sure. So there's definitely downsides, to living, on the coast. I will say that most of the areas we invest in are fairly far from the coast, as in more than, 10, 15 miles. So hurricanes, when they do hit, they pretty much have dissipated, substantially by the time they get further inland. So if you look at what happened in Panama City, the real damage is along the coast, and that's where it really got hammered hard. But one thing to understand is we've had hurricanes for, ever here. So our building codes, are designed for higher wind speeds and things like that. So it's not a huge concern. I mean, obviously you have insurance, and the insurance premiums are probably a little bit more than they are in Birmingham, but we also don't have other risks too. We don't have a huge risk of tornadoes and things like that you may have, in other areas. And we also don't have, freezing temperatures all the time, which, creates other issues, broken pipes and stuff. So I would imagine our insurance rates are maybe a little bit higher on the hurricane side, but probably lower in other areas. So that's kind of some risk there that you just have to make sure you have the right insurance in place. I personally haven't had significant storm damage. The biggest thing that we have to worry about in southern climates is really rain, and water issues, and that's kind of basically everywhere in the southeast. You got to stop the water from coming in. So we haven't seen that hurricanes are a huge risk. We've definitely had them, and it's a big deal, but it's the storm surge and things like that is the real killers. And you kind of have insurance for everything else.
For sure. Jared, before we go, I want to touch on a couple other things, specifically your lifestyle, because obviously a lot of people get into real estate for specific reasons. Like, they want freedom, they want a certain type of lifestyle. And I see you flying planes to Alabama games. I want you to just talk about that. Just talk about just the fact, like, why did you do this business, and are you living out the lifestyle that you envisioned?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm having a blast every day. So, I'm not going to sit around and brag, but yeah, I was able to, get an airplane and learn to fly and, which was a big passion of mine, and have a boat and, have a beach house and that kind of thing. And that's all fun. But really it's just kind of being free, is the biggest thing. Once you've kind of built up a rental income stream, you're kind of free. You can do what you want and take bets. I'm choosing to keep working because I think it's exciting and fun, and I really want to build, an empire and a legacy for my kids. But at some point you can quit if you want to. Frankly, when you do get free, I think you don't want to quit. You want to keep, up in your game. And that's kind of why I do it, is it's just a really fun game. And, the number of units and the amount of money is really just kind of how you keep score. I'm having a blast.
That's awesome. So before we go though, I want you to just kind of tell everybody how they could get a hold of you because obviously you're in a really good market for potential turnkey rentals. We have a lot of people listening to this who buy rental property, obviously in Birmingham, Memphis, some other places. If some potential buyers from out of state would want to get in touch with you about some properties, or if someone just wants to maybe just get in touch with you in general, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, no doubt, Brian. And we're actually opening our turnkey division as we speak. We've got our first couple properties coming online and going to be doing the management and everything for those as well, which I think we're really good at after having managed a pretty large portfolio for myself. But if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Jared Irby. It'll be on the screen, I'm sure. Also, irbyhomebuyers.com is our website. You can get in touch with me there. But honestly, the best way is probably just social media, and just add me as a friend, drop me as a message, and I'll definitely link up with you and we can share some contact info.
That's awesome. And we will definitely put all that in the show notes so you guys can have ways to get in touch with Jared. And if there's properties available, obviously go to his website as well. Jared, thank you so much for coming on the show and helping us with some perspective on the Mobile market that I feel like gets overlooked a lot, but it's obviously a really good market for turnkey, for some cash flowing properties. So appreciate you coming on the show and sharing with us about Mobile.
Definitely. Thanks for having me on, Brian.
Awesome. Guys, hit the subscribe button. We love you so much. We'll see you next time.